Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chris Maloney back with you for another edition of CWN Predicts Impact Wrestling Slammiversary 2021, taking place live tonight, 8 o'clock p.m. on Fight as well as pay-per-view. And then you've got the official countdown to Impact Wrestling Slammiversary 2021 taking place live tonight on Fight as well as pay-per-view as well as social media. Haven't seen the link up for YouTube yet, but it usually is up on YouTube, as well as I think they've done Facebook in the past as well. But anyways, glad to be back doing another edition of CWN Predicts. Live is coming soon. I will tell you that. So CWN Live is coming soon, but obviously, always check out cwnonline.ca for the latest and greatest. And I am still Chris Maloney. I still enjoy doing this. It's just I've been enjoying my summer, and I've been back to work, so it's been great. But speaking of great, like a nice little segue there, tonight's event should be great. 8 big matches on hand, one on the pre-show. The countdown to Impact Slammiversary for free, taking place live tonight, like I said, 7 o'clock p.m. The pay-per-view itself, so if you want to watch it on Fight, is $29.99 US. If you want to watch it on pay-per-view, so that's Sportsnet pay-per-view here in Canada, that's $39.99 Canadian. I'm sure Bell has the same thing. I've got Rogers here, but I'm sure Bell is probably $39.99 as well. But 7 big matches for the event itself, for the pay-per-view, and $39.99. You can't go wrong with that. That's well worth the price. But like I said, 8 big matches in total. One of them taking place on the pre-show. I'm going to call it the pre-show because Countdown to Impact Wrestling Slammiversary 2021 is very long-winded. So I'm just going to say the pre-show, so to speak. But takes place, like I said, 7 o'clock tonight. Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championship match. Fire and Flava, Kiera Hogan, Tasha Steelz as champs, taking on Havoc and Rosemary. It's going to be interesting because, it's I'm digging the team of Havoc and Rosemary. They had Rosemary obviously teaming up with several different knockouts throughout the years, and then Havoc, most recently with Nevaeh, and but Havoc and Rosemary, they got that same sort of gimmick going on. It's like a big sister, little sister type thing. But huge fan of Fire and Flavor, have been for a while. I was glad to see them win back the championships there. But do you put it on Havoc and the Rosemary? And if you do that, what do you do with Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz? The Canadian in me, being biased, of course, I want to say Havoc and Rosemary, but I don't think it's going to be their night. I think they need to keep those tag teams championships strong, and I think they've got the belts on the right team there. So Fire and Flavor for the win in this one, in the Countdown to Impact Wrestling Slammiversary 2021 pre-show there. And I said I wasn't going to use that term, and I just used both. But anyways, a little bit rusty, but I am still having fun with this. So the pay-per-view itself, 7 big matches on hand. And the order of importance, so to speak, for me is match number 1 taking place. Eddie Edwards taking on W. Morrissey. Eddie Edwards, former Impact Wrestling World Champion. It was interesting because I went back and I was looking at the Impact World Championship and to see how many times people have won it. And Eddie Edwards is up there twice. Sami Callihan, main event, is only in there once. I thought he'd won it more than once, but I'll get to that when I come to the main event there. But Eddie Edwards, William Morrissey, W. Morrissey, it's going to be a big back and forth match. You've got obviously Morrissey, who basically they've put the rocket to the moon on his back, so to speak, as being this monster heel. Eddie Edwards, of course, being Eddie Edwards, he is basically the face of Impact Wrestling, in my opinion. But I got to say this. I got to say W. Morrissey for the win in this. They're going to push him and push him and push him until eventually he's in that world championship mix. And, it's good for Impact Wrestling as well, establishing, somebody who was already established, but into a new character. And so W. Morrissey for the win in this one here. Match number 2, one of my personal favorites of all time, Chris Sabin taking on Moose. Moose is jacked. I tell you that. I've never seen a guy be as in shape as him, being the size that he is, being as old as he is. And, he's in tremendous shape. He's in better shape now than he ever has been as far as his Impact Wrestling career goes. That being said, it came out that WB, I guess, was on the table. Moose felt it was better offer for him to basically stay with Impact Wrestling. Great for him, and going up against one of the all-time greats, one of my personal favorites, Chris Sabin, of course. Sabin, he's been there, done it all in Impact Wrestling. To see him wrestling 2021 is absolutely phenomenal. But they've got to keep pushing these strong guys. And Sabin, to me, as much as I personally love his character, love what he's contributed to the wrestling business, it is 2021 too. So to see a guy who should be relevant in Moose. I want to see him, stay on top, stay strong, picking up those wins. And in saying that, I'm going to say Moose for the win in this one. The bias in me, of course, Chris Sabin as world champion for the rest of eternity for Impact Wrestling there. But I got to say this. I got to say Moose should be the winner in this one here. So Moose for the win in this. Match number 3. This is where it starts to get interesting with the gimmick matches as well as the surprises. Mixed tag team match. Matt Cardona and taking on Brian Myers and Tennille Dashwood with Caleb and Akay in their corner. So my pick to win, I'm going to say Cardona, and the obvious choice. And I want to go against this, but it's to have them on a pay-per-view, to have them together, wrestling together for the very first time. And to my knowledge, anyways, I got to say Chelsea Green is a surprise. I know she made an appearance for Ring of Honor last weekend. I know she's got the cast going on, but that cast gimmick, so to speak, Cowboy Bob Orton, many have done it. And what Chelsea Green does in ROH necessarily doesn't relate to what she does in Impact Wrestling. So if Scott D'Amore, so to speak, gives her the go ahead to say, hey, look, we can you can wrestle on this show, why not have it her and her fiance wrestle as a team? So that's my pick. Who's going to be in this one? So Matt Cardona, Chelsea Green, and to have them on pay-per-view together for the very first time, be a memorable thing for the both of them. So I can't see them losing. Brian Myers, Tennille Dashwood, kind of interesting to see them as a tag team because obviously that just came out with regards to this past week's Impact Wrestling there. But Cardona as well as Chelsea Green for the win in this one. It should be a great match. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually started the pay-per-view with it, but we'll have to wait and see. But big fan of Cardona, big fan of Chelsea Green, biased Canadian, obviously. But so Matt Cardona, Chelsea Green for the win in this one here, guys. Match number 4, a 4-way tag team match for the Impact World Tag Team Championship. Violent by Design, Dina, Eric Young, Joe Doring, and Rhino. Any two of those guys, be in this match. Freebird Rule taking on Rich Swann and Willie Mack, taking on the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, taking on Fallah Bahh and question mark. So another one here. So who do I think is going to win? I don't think Violent by Design is going to keep the titles. It's interesting because of who my pick is. And my pick is Fallah Bahh and Heath. We haven't seen Heath in a while. Obviously, him and Rhino were supposed to go after those tag team championships. Heath gets injured, hernia, I think it was. Rhino goes on, turns heel, creates this gimmick with Violent by Design. And then next thing you know, he wins the Impact World Tag Team Championship, cashing in. And Heath is kind of left on the sidelines once again. And long story short, I think it's the perfect time to bring Heath back to have him fight against Rhino. He can feud with Rhino at this point, but the tag team situation as well, it makes perfect sense. But do you put the belts on them? I think it creates some tension with TJP. Not sure where they're going to go with him, but the fact is, when it comes down to it, TJP is a better singles wrestler than he is a tag team wrestler, in my opinion. So why not? I'm going to go out on a limb in this one. I'm going to say Fallah Bahh and Heath win the Impact World Tag Team Championships tonight at Slammiversary. It is their big event, so why not just throw everything against the wall in this one? So Fallah Bahh, Heath as new Impact World Tag Team Champions. Match of the night coming up. I'm going to say this. I love Kenny Omega, hence the fact I'm wearing an Elite shirt. I thought about wearing the Bullet Club, Omega shirt, but I went with this one instead. Good Brothers being on the show as well. But when it comes down to it, Omega versus Sami Callihan, definitely contender for match of the night. But this one is my match of the night, and it hasn't even started yet. But Ultimate X match for the Impact X Division Championship. How cool is this to say in 2021? So Josh Alexander as champ, taking on P.D. Williams, taking on Trey Miguel, taking on Ace Austin, taking on Chris Bay, taking on Rohit Raju. When I look back at Impact Wrestling and see the stacked cards and the stacked rosters that they had back in the day for the X Division, I'm talking Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley and Sanjay Dutt and Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and those guys there. Today's roster right now with regards to Impact Wrestling in the X Division is potentially one of the biggest as well. Petey Williams, back in the day, yes, of course, he was part of that as well, but now he's part of this. Trey Miguel, absolutely phenomenal. Ace Austin, absolutely phenomenal. Both guys are young. Chris Bay, absolutely phenomenal. And the Rohit Raju, when he was carrying the championship, he acted like a mega monster heel, and that's the part that I love. But you want to talk about mega monsters, Josh Alexander. There's a lot of bias in me in this. He is an Ontario boy, and he is Canadian, obviously. But the fact is, Josh Alexander carries himself like a champion. When you see him on the Canadian independent wrestling scene, he carries himself like a champion. Not just that, the body transformation he has gone through, the injuries that he has gone through. But Josh Alexander is probably one of the toughest guys in the business. He's very smart. He's very well liked, and he's very much talked about. To put him in this match as champ, and then to put it as an Ultimate X match, I'm telling you, my match of the night. It'll be a huge letdown if this underperforms, so to speak. But I gotta say this: Josh Alexander is in the mix. The rumor has it that they want to bump him up to the world title scene, but is he unbeatable? And comes out maybe being a little bit I'm a little bit too cocky, but coming out being cocky and saying he's got no competition anymore in the X division, wants to step it up to the World Championship division. I would love that. Does he cash in the X division belt to get a championship match against? Oh man, fantasy booking going on in my mind. But Alexander versus Kenny Omega, man, down the road. So I'm going to say this. Obviously, listening to me talk right now, Josh Alexander is my pick for this, and potential to see him and Kenny Omega in a fight, title for title, man. Title for title even. That would be cool as well. But see, it's the excitement in me as a wrestling fan. But Josh Alexander to retain. And I want to see him and Kenny Omega feud down the road. And like I said, this match is going to be absolutely amazing. But I'm going to say Josh Alexander for the win in this one here. See, it's been a while since I've done this show, so I'm kind of a little bit rambling. But again, the excitement in me as a wrestling fan. And I'll tell you this: I watched SmackDown last night in front of fans, 14,000 fans at the Toyota Center. Down there in Houston, and I may have shed a tear, but it's a long time coming. And Impact Wrestling having fans for this as well, it's going to make a huge difference as well. So it's just I'm lighting up as a wrestling fan. Canadian independent wrestling as well, is starting to stir up, and I'm loving it. But I'll get back to the show here. So Josh Alexander for the win and to retain in that match there. Match number 6 in the Impact Knockouts Championship match. Deonna Purrazzo as champ, the Virtuosa, taken on question mark. When I was looking at the roster, so the released names back on April 15th of this year from the WWE NXT, so to speak, I was looking at the female names. Chelsea Green Purrazzo would be absolutely phenomenal, knowing that they're tight behind the scenes, and obviously they made their NXT debut together there in the crowd. But fact is, putting Chelsea Green in the mixed tag team match takes her out of this match. She could do double duty, but I don't think it's going to happen tonight. So who do you pick? There's lots of names, a few females that were released as well besides Chelsea Green. But my pick in this is going to be the surprise Mickie James taking on Deonna Purrazzo, winning the championship. So there, my pick, Deonna Purrazzo losing to the one and only Mickie James, and losing the championship to the one and only Mickie James there. So that's my pick to who's going to be the surprise. And it's also my pick on who's going to win the match there. So Mickie James and New. And then match number 7 of the pay-per-view itself is the one and only main event turned into a no DQ match for the Impact World Championship. The one and only Kenny Omega with Don Callis taking on Sami Callihan. Because I want to see what I want to see, because I want to see Kenny Omega title versus title against Josh Alexander, I got to go Omega for the win in this one. As much as Sami Callihan can carry that company, and he has, and he's one of the most gifted guys on the mic. He's very loyal to Impact Wrestling, to that brand there. And as much as I want to see Callihan win, the championship once again, I don't think it's going to happen tonight. I see it before the end of 2021. I think that would be cool. But then how do you play out the Omega versus Alexander fantasy booking, so to speak, by me? But I'm going to say Kenny Omega for the win in this one. I'm going to say no DQ match. There's just going to be too much, at hand for Sami Callihan. The fact is the Good Brothers can get involved. Omega's got a lot of allegiances. Sami as well. But when it just comes straight down to it, Omega versus Callahan, no DQ match. There's going to be too many outside factors. So Omega for the win in this one here, guys. So to replay my picks, we got Fire and Flavor for the win to retain. We got W. Morrissey, match number 1 to win. Moose to beat Chris Sabin. Cardona and Chelsea Green to defeat Brian Myers and Tennille Dashwood. My pick is Falaba and Heath to win the Impact World Tag Team Championships. Ultimate X match, Josh Alexander to retain. Impact Knockouts Championship match, Deanna Purrazzo to lose against the re-debuting, so to speak, Mickie James. And then match number 7, main event of the night, no DQ, Kenny Omega to retain against Sami Callihan there, guys. So Impact Wrestling Slammiversary 2021 taking place live tonight, Skyway Studios, Nashville, Tennessee, 8 o'clock p.m. on Fight. Like I said, $29.99 US on Fight. And then on pay-per-view here in Canada, it'd be $39.99, whether it be Rogers, Sportsnet, or Bell. And then the countdown to Impact Wrestling Slammiversary 2021 taking place live tonight, 7 o'clock p.m. Fight pay-per-view as well as social media for free. You get to watch the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championship match take place there, guys. So it's been great being back for Predicts. And I got another one coming up for tomorrow because you've got WWE Money in the Bank 2021 taking place live tomorrow night. So look for that prediction show as well. Recap shows are going to be few and far between, but if I can get one done, it'll definitely get out there. Like I said, CWN Live is definitely on the horizon. I will tell you guys that there. And then look for a special announcement tomorrow by the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. I'm going to say and leave it there. But guys, it's been great. As always, follow me at Chris Maloney CWN with regards to social media. And I will be back tomorrow for sure with regards to CWN Predicts. That is WB Money in the Bank 2021. So as always, guys, thank you for watching and listening. And I will talk to everybody again sometime soon.